before his tragic death, Jason and I sat at one of the Mermaid Inn tables talking about the song. I now recall an evening previous to when Jason and I became friends, when he sat down next to me at perhaps the same table to tell me how much he liked the poem I had written. I remember how strange it seemed to me that someone as talented as Jason would like something I had written. He wanted my permission to use my poem as the basis of a song that he wanted to write. I suggested he might be pulling my leg, but he protested and told me that he was really serious. I never expected that he would follow through on writing this song. Without me asking from time to time, he would update me on the song's progress, the last update being the Thursday night previous to his death. He assured me that he hadn't forgotten the song and was still working on it. He was satisfied with the song's chorus and was certain the rest of the song would soon fall into place. I don't claim to know anything about songwriting, but I did sit in on the songwriter's workshop once, where I was informed that the chorus was the hook and the most important part of the song. As Jason and I were saying our goodbyes that recent evening, he told me that he thought my poem perhaps was the best thing I had ever written, after making plans to get together for lunch in a few days. I reminded Jason that I was 78 years old, and he shouldn't wait too long to complete writing the song. At the time, it never occurred that I would outlive him. The last time Jason and I had lunch together was a low point in my personal life, but in short order, as Jason described his own experience with unrequited love, he had me laughing. I found it difficult to picture a good-looking young fellow, ever so talented like him, could ever be spurned by a woman. Either she was had extremely unrealistic expectations, or she had a screw loose. At the time, I recall thinking Jason was young and could laugh about such things because he had an unlimited amount of time and do-overs left in his life. I was old and more than likely was out of time, and then I'd used up all my do-overs. If my life were a poker game, I was all in. Here's the poem that he said he was going to write a song about. It's called Perhaps. Of all the words in the English language, perhaps might be my favorite. It's a word that I use as a password to enter the world of what might have been. Perhaps if I were a few years younger and she was a few years older, we would have become lovers, and in time, one of those rare old married couples who are still in love, unashamedly holding hands and sharing a kiss. Perhaps some people will think that we are being foolish, but there will be others who will look on with envy. Perhaps after kissing goodnight, we will lie together in the dark, so close that I can feel her heartbeat, intentionally fighting off sleep. I will listen to her breathing become deep as she is overcome by weariness. Perhaps in time she will stir and then utter my name. The moonlight coming through the window will cut through the darkness enough for me to see her smile. What a wonderful smile it is. Perhaps if I were an artist, I would paint a portrait of her and her smile that I love so much. Perhaps in 100 years or more, someone will discover her long-forgotten portrait in the dusty attic somewhere, and then will instantly fall in love with her captivating smile, just as I had so many years before. Perhaps in time, her portrait, smile, and name will have replaced the Mona Lisa. Perhaps from the first time we met, I knew it would be foolish to think she would ever fall in love with me. My only hope was that someday she would love me as she loves so many people in her life. Not a love of desire, but a love for someone who is a precious part of her life. Perhaps when I die before her, as more than likely I will, she will cry, and from that moment on, in the years to come, a sight, a sound will remind her of me, and she will smile. She might not realize it, but at times like that, if at all possible, I will be there. Perhaps I should have, but I know I never thanked her for letting me tell her I loved her. I understand the difference between loving someone and being in love with. It's not exactly what I would want, but considering the alternative of living a life without her, and must be content just being someone she loves. Perhaps my greatest fear is not that someday she will meet someone she will fall in love with, but that he will not understand what I am to her. No matter, because if she is happy, I will do my best to be happy too. Perhaps I should have remained silent, never said I loved her, or perhaps I never said it enough. Was it only the echo of my own voice I was hearing when I heard her say that she loved me too? Perhaps it is foolish to treasure a memory of something that might have never been, but I know I always will. I will caress her only with my words, and hold her only in my imagination. Is to consider anything else just an old man acting foolish. Perhaps I have said far too much.